Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative solutions to better health and wellness. And I'm your host, Marsha. Thank you so much for joining me today. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for sending your love and support during this time, and prayers that I received from family, as well as friends, even strangers. I thank you so much for your support during this time of when I've lost my mom. And I'm hanging in there. I'm doing okay. I have my good and my bad days, but I'm pushing forward. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the love and appreciation. Thank you so much. Okay, so today's topic is 20 common questions, right? 20 common questions that people ask health coaches. Right. So that's what I'll be covering today. And today I really don't have a quote for you today. I don't have a quote and I can't think of anything offhand. So, but you know what? Maybe I will have a quote because I love quotes. So maybe I will have a quote. I actually do have a quote. And here it is. And I might have said this before too, but your best future is always right in front of you. I'm not sure who it's by, but I like that quote. Okay, I didn't have a quote, but I just remembered a quote that I do like. So I wanted to share it. Okay, so now, all right, what are some common questions that us health coaches get? Some common questions. And I think I wanted to cover that. So maybe it could address some of the questions and concerns that people may have. So I have a list of some questions here, but the first question is, how can I create a balanced, sustainable meal plan? All right, so how can I create a balanced, sustainable meal plan, right? What do we mean by sustainable? Okay, so when we talk about a sustainable diet, we're talking about a diet that's not just sustainable for ourselves, the individual, but for the planet as a whole. Right. And this has been a trending topic. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about overall, right? Not just for ourselves, because, right, according to the statistics, okay, when it comes to agriculture, all right, agriculture uses 50% of the world's vegetated land and generates 25% of all of the annual global emissions, right? That contributes to climate change. But and 70% of fresh water sources contributes to both and is affected by extreme weather events. And so how does that relate? Well, it does relate a lot, right? And so what they're saying is food is not produced efficiently, right? So food is not being produced efficiently. And so you have an abundance, for example, abundance of crops are produced each year just to feed livestock alone. Just to feed livestock, right? So to feed those animals. And so so for every 9 calories that we put into a chicken, we get 1 calorie out. Interesting. It says with meat, with estimates that we need to produce 70 to 100% more meat by 2050. And we can't continue to produce our food in this way. And so this is talking about particularly with meat, right? And so we have to be very mindful of what we're doing. And I know that it's like you say, well, we don't have any control over that, but we do. We do because we are the consumers, right? So we are the consumers. So back to the question, how do you maintain a balanced and sustainable diet, right? Well, you know what a sustainable diet is, right? So what a sustainable diet is basically, it includes the whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, poultry, fish, and small amounts of red meat, right? For those who consume red meat, okay? They're saying small amounts of red meat. Now you have people who love their steaks now, all right? But it says minimizing the use of antibiotics and hormones in food production, right? So we have to minimize that oil or try to find a way to eliminate oil together. Now you have poultry where they don't feed, some poultry companies where they don't feed their animals, give their animals antibiotics, right? And it's supposed to be all natural, all grown, and all of that things of that nature. And reducing waste, food loss and waste, right? And so for the U.S. particularly, we are the most wasteful when it comes to food. So we have to be mindful of that. And so we want to learn to eat well for ourselves and the planet. We want to eat well for the planet as well as for ourselves. So that includes having at least 50% of fruits and vegetables, which you should be eating anyway, right? You should be eating that anyway. In addition to that, 50% of whole grains, plant protein sources, and unsaturated plant oils, right? Unsaturated plant oils. All right. And so what they're suggesting is basically modest amount of animal source protein, right? And this information comes from futurelearn.com, right? So I just wanted to pull the little statistics out there for you, but we have to learn how to reduce waste. We have to be more mindful. And so, and that's why when I tell you, if you're buying, especially if you're particular for people who buy organic whole food products, fresh fruits and vegetables, we want to make sure that we use them and consume them within a timely manner so we don't have to throw away food, right? It's the worst thing that we have to throw away food, right? It's a waste of our money and it's a waste of food that could have probably benefited someone else. All right. So we buy food with what we need. If you're buying fresh fruits and vegetables, you want to purchase those things and know to use them within a timely time frame, because fresh produce and organic foods does perish quickly. All right. And so, and a balanced diet, again, is which I said includes the fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and if you consume meat, you want to eat, particularly red meat in particular, you want to have small amounts of reduced red meat. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What types of exercises are most effective for my fitness goals? That's a good question. What types of exercises are most effective for my fitness goals? For everyone, it's going to be a little different, right? So getting to know and understand your metabolism is important, right? So getting to know and understanding your metabolism is important. So what someone else can run maybe 5 miles, and someone else who maybe their endurance, they don't have as much endurance, can probably only do 3, maybe or maybe a mile, right? So it's getting to know your body and what it is that you can endure, right? And so there's not a one size fit all when it comes to exercise, but it depends on what are you looking for? Are you looking to lose weight? Okay. Are you looking to just maintain fitness, maintain, some being healthy? So what are you basically looking for? So these are the questions that you should be asking yourself, right? And so if you just want to maintain your healthy weight, doing some exercise, whatever it is that you enjoy most, whether it's either cardio or whether it's some HIIT exercise, maybe it's simply walking, right? Maybe it's some yoga, maybe it's some Tai Chi, which I love. Tai Chi is great for moving the flow of energy in the body. But I'll get to that later on. But this is how we can do the fitness goals is different and varies from each person and depending on their health, right? Depending on their health, right? So know what certain things that you can do, which form of exercise that you benefit the most from. Okay. What do you benefit the most from? And if you have someone who is a personal trainer, they can give you more in detail of all of those things with you. If you want to maintaining being fit and getting your regular daily routine in of 30 minutes of exercise in the day, just to maintain having exercise and to maintain energy throughout the day, and maintaining energy and being fit and working the muscles and being in that state of flow, moving the body, right? Because that's what's important, moving the body. So instead of taking the elevator, you can try taking the stairs, right? Each morning or whatever, right? So just understanding your body itself, your metabolism, and then taking it from there and choosing the best exercise routine that's best for you and your individual fitness goals. Okay. So now the next question I have is, how do I manage stress and improve my mental well-being through lifestyle changes? That's a good question. Managing stress and improving your mental health, your mental well-being through lifestyle changes. Well, I talk about stress all the time, right? And so we know that chronic stress is a silent killer. We all experience stress at some point in time, but when it becomes chronic is when it becomes an issue, which usher in illness and disease. And so we want to make sure that we manage our stress levels, right? And some things that we can do to manage our stress is through lifestyle changes, right? And so what are some of those lifestyle changes? Being more mindful, right? Being able to think things out, managing our emotions, right? Managing our emotions, learning how to be more patient, learning how to become more patient so that we don't fly off the handle when we are upset about certain things, learning how to be a better communicator, right? Being an effective communicator. And that includes listening as well as being heard, right? And you probably figure, well, why is that important? It is important because we have to be able to communicate effectively. We have to be able to express ourselves without having a lack of emotional maturity in order to manage our stress in a better way. And so you may go to work every day. You may hate going to work. And so maybe...
Are you tired of feeling stressed out and overwhelmed from work and life in general? Go from overwhelmed to overjoyed with our proven techniques that will help you reduce stress and manage your pain so you can feel good in your body, have more energy and vitality, feel happy and alive again. It's time to take your power back and reclaim your life. Get your free guide and you will receive an added bonus. Get started on your self-care journey to a happier, healthier you.
It shows in your work ethic. It shows in your attitude. So maybe we can work on that. What can I do today to improve my outcome at work? What could I do today to have a better day at work, right? Looking at the positive aspects of life rather than the negative, being more positive, starting out your day with breath work, right? Starting out your day with some breathing exercises, some affirmations, right? Some things that's going to help you set the tone for the day, so to speak. Something that's going to empower you to feel good and to do your best, okay? So we can make these small lifestyle changes by just doing them, right? Wake up in the morning. Maybe you could just say thank you in the morning. What are 5 things I'm grateful for today? Oh man, today I'm grateful that I have the ability to look outside my window, right? And watch the bird or the squirrel, right? I'm grateful that I woke up this morning and I don't have any pain in my body, right? And whatever it could be for you. I wake up this morning and grateful that my spouse is here by my side. Whatever it is for you, make those things a daily practice to help you manage stress, as well as whatever your spiritual faith or beliefs are. That's important. These are the things that help you stay grounded. Okay, these are the things that help you stay grounded throughout life's challenging moments. All right. So the next question is, can you help me understand and establish healthier eating habits? All right. So how can help you understand healthier eating habits is knowing that if you love your body, right, you're going to show that in how you treat your body, right? So what you feed your body matters. What you put into your body matters. And if you love yourself, you're going to do better for yourself, right? And I'm not saying you're going to have days when you won't have a cheat day or something like that, or that's okay, right? Or days where you fall short. It happens to all of us, right? It happens to all of us, right? These things happen. But you want to make sure that you are able to implement these habits and do them consistently so that they become a norm. Now, how can we establish healthier eating habits, right? We can establish better eating habits by going through our pantry, eliminating those things that we know that's not good for us, right? Just don't buy them. Just stop buying them. Just stop buying them, right? And ask yourself the question, does this serve me in the best way possible? Ask yourself the question, does this serve, whatever that food item is, does it serve me in the best way possible that is going to truly nourish my body and is good for my body, right? And if you know the answer is no, then you don't have it. If you know the answer is no, don't have it, right? And so it can be challenging, but it can be done through practice over time, right? Through practice over time. So the next question is, what are some practical tips for weight management? What are some practical tips for weight management? All right. Doing your daily exercise, right, can help you maintain your weight and can help you to prevent from being overweight, right? Having your daily routine, as well as what you put into your body. So you want to make sure, if you want to make sure that you keep in your weight, whatever your weight goal is, or whatever weight that you are at, and you want to maintain that weight, you have to do the things that's going to help you sustain that weight, such as taking your green tea, all right, such as things like taking green tea, eating less carbs, right? Less carbs. You want more of the good carbs, if anything. Maybe instead of the potato, you have a sweet potato instead of that white potato. Okay. Maybe instead of all that heavy bread, right? Maybe you won't have that. Maybe you won't have the heavy bread. You have something else instead, right? You have something healthier in place of that. So maybe you may want to consider some type of bread like the Ezekiel bread, and that without the gluten, because the gluten, not only for people who have a celiac disease, but for people because gluten makes you gain weight, right? So you may want to go with gluten-free, right? Some sourdough bread, right? You may want to consider sourdough bread, or even grain-free tortillas. You can probably consider something like that. There's so many different options. And so knowing that you have the ability to choose and make healthier options, that's what's important. Okay. So you want to be able to do that. All right. So what are some practical tips for weight management? So I talked about that. I also wanted to show you something like, now you've heard a topic on berberine, right? And some people are using berberine for helping with weight loss, right? And I did an episode on that talking about berberine, right? So berberine is another thing that you can take for helping with weight loss, right? In addition to you working out, and making healthier food choices. So what do we know about berberine? Okay, it's an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory. First, it is derived from a plant. Okay, but it helps you to neutralize harmful free radicals in the body. Okay, it can be beneficial for various inflammatory conditions. We have berberine, which is known to be good for heart health. Okay, so there's research that shows that it can lower the bad cholesterol and triglyceride levels, reducing the risk of cardiovascular diseases. All right, and it helps support a healthy blood pressure. Okay, and gut health. Okay, it's very good for gut health. A balanced gut microbiome is what's needed for good overall health. Right, and berberine has antimicrobial properties that helps maintain this balance. It also may be effective against certain harmful bacteria, all right, making it a valuable addition to gut's health regimen, all right? And so one particular story, and I've talked about this before, was Sarah, who was struggling with weight management, right? Who was a mother of two and found herself struggling with her weight. So she tried different things, and just to make a long story short, she stumbled upon berberine, right? She stumbled upon some berberine, and through a friend's recommendation, and she gave it a try. And within a few weeks, she incorporated berberine into her daily routine. She did notice changes, right? And her energy levels, not only were her energy levels up, she no longer felt the need to snack constantly because berberine suppresses your appetite, right? But her big surprise is when she stepped upon the scale and she noticed that she had lost 30 pounds. And so it felt like the weight had been lifted from her physically as well as emotionally. Because, as if you feel overweight, you can feel emotionally not your best, right? And so I had a bottle of berberine here, but I finished it. I don't have any more. But I noticed that not only would it help with managing your weight and losing weight, right? But lowering your blood pressure, right? Lowering your blood pressure, which is good. My normal range was between the 120s, but now it's lower than that. And I'm thinking it's due to the berberine. But I also make sure that I don't consume a lot of salt. Okay, I also make sure I don't consume a lot of salt. I don't eat a lot of salty foods. Okay, so you have to just be mindful, right, of the things that's going to be harmful to you, right? And so you want to be definitely mindful of these things. Okay, so this is how you can maintain your healthy weight. Right. I'm not saying berberine is the save all, but if you look at my last episode or just Google berberine, you'll see the benefits of it in helping people also with managing their diabetes and things of that nature. Okay. So what else can we do for weight management? Right. Exercise, eating the right fruits and vegetables, making sure that you stay hydrated. All of these things are important. Making sure you consume less salty food, get rid of the snacks, a bunch of the snacks, the sugary snacks, okay? All of these things, the sugary snacks and carbonated drinks, is going to help you to, help you to gain weight. And it's not good for the body on a daily basis, okay? All right, so let's move on now to the next question. I have like 20 questions here, and I have a bonus question. How can I improve my sleep quality and develop a consistent sleep routine? That's a very good question. How can I improve my sleep quality and develop a consistent sleep routine? All right, so we know the importance of sleep, right? There's been a bunch of studies on it, right? I talked about sleep, right? I talked about it on a few episodes in my book about the importance of sleep, right? Sleep is very important. Why do we need sleep? All right, because that is the time that the body detoxifies, right? Getting enough sleep helps you to feel energized in the morning, more energized, okay? And it's needed for our overall health and well-being, all right? Researchers say at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but everyone is different. For me personally, I can function off of 6 hours of sleep and I'm fine, all right? You have to know what's what works for you, what's best for, but you should definitely, if you're not someone who can function off of 6 hours of sleep, you need to make sure you're getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. All right. And so how do you do that? You want to make sure that you go to bed at a certain time so that you can have that window to have time just for sleep, right? You want to have that window of time where you can have just for sleep and uninterrupted sleep, right? So what you can do is, hey, if you have children, you want to put the kids to bed early, they need to be bed. You got to have a routine. Put the kids in the bed after they do their homework, wash up, have dinner and all of that stuff. They're in bed at a certain time. They can have their moment of recreational time or whatever routine that you have with them. And then it's bedtime. Now it's time for you and what you need. You need to have your unwinding time to prepare you and get you ready for sleep, right? Maybe it could be a nice bath or a nice hot shower, a nice, warm shower, and to get yourself ready for bed. You don't want to consume any drinks after it's close to bedtime, only because then you'll be getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, right? So, all right. So this is what you can do to make sure that you get enough sleep. Again, as you know, sleep is the time when the body detoxifies, right? The body detoxifies through the lymphatic sense of the lymph fluid, right? And then the brain, the cerebral fluid. So what happens when we don't get enough sleep? We end up with foggy brain, can't concentrate. We have a short wick, right? Sometimes we can be short-tempered, can't focus correctly, and just totally out of it, right? You can be totally out of it. So you want to make sure that you are getting the proper sleep that you need, uninterrupted sleep, so that you can be productive for the next day. And it's necessary. It's a requirement. It's mandatory. I'd say it's mandatory. All right. So, okay. So now what are the best strategies? The next question is, what are the best strategies for staying motivated to exercise regularly? Well, I know for this one, for me, everybody have their own thing, right? For me, I have to get up and I have to do it in the morning early, or sometimes before 12 noon. It just depends on my day, but I rather just do it and get it out of the way, and I can say it's done, right? I do it. So whatever your work, everything is built around your routine and your work schedule and how your body works best. Some people enjoy being a night owl. It's not my thing, right? Some people can work and then go to the gym. Not me. After a long day, I want to come home, take a shower, and relax. All right. So, but again, some people are different. So, staying motivated is really to stay motivated on your exercise routine is maybe find a support group, right? Find a workout partner, right? Maybe you and your spouse or whatever can go working out together. And doing things together to help you work out and holding each other accountable, right? And staying motivated. And another way you can stay motivated is, what are you trying to achieve, right? What's the end goal of what you're trying to achieve during this process, right? Of working out. You know that you want to fuel your body. You know you want more energy. You want to stop feeling tired all the time, right? You're tired of feeling lethargic and no energy. So you want to have more energy, right? Boost your metabolism, right? Eating healthy foods, right? Getting enough sleep. All of these things can help you to stay motivated and your willingness to participate and to commit. Okay. And so I would say the best strategies is to have some type of a support, accountability partner, and more importantly, the why, right? More importantly, of why it's important, and doing that self-motivation, right? Your own self-motivation. Okay. All right. So I hope that answered that question. Ooh, I like this question. How can I incorporate more mindfulness and relaxation into my daily routine? You can do it anytime, even on your lunch break. So if you get a 30-minute lunch break to an hour lunch break, take 10 to 15 minutes to just have a mindful moment, to actually just woosah and take a break from all that's going on inside the office or inside the hospital or inside the nursing home, wherever you are, right? And I'm always referring back to healthcare or even law enforcement because that's been my background, right? So incorporating more mindfulness, you can do this first thing in the morning, meditating in the morning, just being more mindful and relearning to relax, or before you go to bed, right? They have all on YouTube. You have the guided meditations or relaxation just for calm. You got all these different apps, right? Where you can just listen to some, whether it's rainforest music, whatever, nature sounds. Find the time to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever works best for you, to just listen to that and de-stress, right? To come back to calm, right? And just to relax. That's so important. That's very important. So you just have to do it. You need to incorporate it into your daily routine twice a day if you can. Do it twice a day if you can. Make it a part of your everyday life. All right. So what are the key components of a healthy, nutrient-rich diet? That's the next question, which is a very good question. All right. So what are the key components to a healthy, nutrient-rich diet? So a nutrient-rich diet contains carbs, protein, not a whole lot of carbs, but we need carbs, right? Carbs, protein, fat, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Water, of course, we need water, right? And so the body needs 45 to 55% of carbs, which is needed for energy. It can be grains, wheat, corn, oats. Oats is very good for you. Rice, flour, pasta, noodles, potatoes, yams, and so forth, right? But you want to make sure if you're consuming carbs, you don't want to consume a whole lot of carbs. You don't need a whole lot of carbs, right? You don't need a whole lot of carbs, but you need some carbs, right? And all carbs are not created equal, right? And so you don't have to use certain carbs, right? You don't have to use wheat. You don't have to use corn because these things make you gain weight, right? Rice, you can consume rice, but you don't have to consume a whole lot of rice. So you have people that eat rice and their weight is fine, right? Again, so it all depends on how much you are consuming. See, that's the key. It's consumption. How much are you actually consuming? And so that's why for some people, the low carb diet is the best thing. Low carb, high protein, right? Or choosing to have that Mediterranean diet where you color your plate, right? And so you want 10 to 35% of protein. What are some of the proteins? Okay, you have plant-based protein. You got chia seeds. You got flax seeds. You have beans, right? Beans are a source of protein. Okay, and as well as your meat, fish, eggs, soybeans, and such things of that nature. All right. And when it comes to fat, you have your nuts, seeds, your plant oils, your dairy, milk, and cheese, right? Fiber is what we know that it helps regulate the blood sugar as well as help with bowel health, right? But the fat we know also we need for energy as well as for storage, as well as hormone production. And so now when it comes to vitamins and minerals, right? Well, our body needs a lot of that, and we need that for our metabolism, right? Our metabolism regulation and helping with cellular growth, right? And so each vitamin and mineral there's a range of it which we find in many of our fruits and vegetables, right? And so that's why fruits and vegetables are important, because we find these things in our fruits and vegetables, but not only in other plant-based materials such as sea algae, right? Such as the sea moss, right? Which contains, I'm going to get to that too later on, but contains a bunch of minerals, containing at least over 92 minerals needed for the body. right? And why is water necessary? For maintaining that hydration, right? Having water, particularly if you can, drink some filtered water, right? If you're not able to get spring water, some filtered out water, reverse osmosis, using reverse osmosis, or spring water, right? But you need to stay hydrated, okay, with water, right? Particularly water, or coconut water, right? Which is very alkaline for you, good for the body. So that's what you need to do. Okay, so I'm hoping that I answered that question. Okay, so question number 10 is, how can I navigate social situations and events while maintaining a healthy lifestyle? Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a question that I get a lot, right? Because some people don't like to eat out socially because they're afraid that they're going to pig out. They're afraid they're going to pig out, and they don't want to eat maybe what other people are eating, right? The unhealthy stuff, which so many people do, right? But and in a restaurant, you have their healthy choices such as salads, and it depends on the type of restaurant that you go to. But listen, it doesn't mean you don't have to go to attend social events, right? You can still attend social events. You just choose wisely. You just choose from the better, the healthiest option, right? You don't have to eat all of the dinner rolls that come out to the table, right? Right. And so, hey, I'll be the first one to say, I enjoy the dinner rolls, but I know I have to put a limit. I know I have to put a limit on the dinner rolls, right? I know this. So you have to just know, like, okay, I had one. I don't eat this often. You can have a cheat day, right? I'll be the first one to tell you I have a cheat day. And yes, I will have me one of those Texas Roadhouse dinner rolls. Okay. So, all right. So the thing is being able to control yourself and set your limitations, right? You can still go out and have a good time and not worry about eating unhealthy. And so that's why it's always important to have a salad, right? And some will tell you, so drink water before your meal. I particularly don't like to do that because I like to enjoy my food. I love food. I do love food. So I would be lying if I told you something different. But I want to enjoy my food. And so for me, it's like you have to know your limitations. For me, I know my limitations. And when I'm done, I'm done. Right. And so in the end, if I know I may be tempted to overeat, right, which I tend not to do, but if I tend to overeat, right, if I tend to overeat, then I'm going to go ahead and have some water and fill up myself on some water, right? But I try my best to eat when I am satisfied, when I've had enough, because I get full very quickly. And see, that's the thing about those taking those supplements such as berberine, or even having sea moss. It helps curb your appetite. So you don't have to eat as much, right? You don't have to eat as much. But where you can still go out socially and have a good time and not be afraid of if you're going to overeat. You have to maintain some self-discipline, right? So even if you have a support group, right, and you have these Facebook groups or in coaching sessions, your Facebook group, with those people that you connect with and you have your support group with, they're not going to be around 24/7, right? They're not around you. So you have to have some self-control where you're able to regulate yourself. You have to be able to self-regulate. Okay, you have to be able to self-regulate. So if it means you take your journal out and maybe, all right, maybe you're going out today, but you didn't have breakfast. Maybe you just had a light breakfast of oatmeal. And so I know when I go out today, this evening, I'm going to have this, but I'm going to eat until I'm satisfied and I won't overeat. Okay, I won't overeat. And you got to be able to self-regulate at the end of the day. Okay, you have to self-regulate. And because after you overeat and you stuff yourself, you feel horrible, right? You already know how you're going to feel. And then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. No. So just learning how to self-regulate when it comes to being in social situations can help you. And if you need to take a food, if it means taking your food journal with you, then go ahead and do it. Right. If you know you need to take your food journal with you, and then when you get back to your either your coaching session or your accountability partner or your support group, that you can say, this is what I've done. All right. And this is what I've done. This is what I did. This is what I had. And I didn't overeat. Right. I had a little cheat day. Maybe you had a little extra of something. That's okay. But the goal is not to overeat, but you can still have a good time. Okay. So learning how to self-regulate is important also. All right. Without depriving yourself of being in social situations. All right. So number 11 is, what are some effective ways to reduce sugar and processed food intake? All right. Cut back on the sugar, cut back on maybe your creamer, right? Maybe you can have tea without any sugar at all, right? Maybe you can have, if you're gonna drink your coffee, maybe you may want to try the 0 sugar, right? Maybe you want to cut back, have less sugar than you normally have. Maybe you can add the creamer or the caramel to it, and you don't need to have the sugar because the sugar is already in the caramel, right? So just being able to say, okay, I'm going to cut back, cut those sugary drinks, cut out that soda, right? Cut those. So, I don't drink soda. So cut out that soda, cut out that processed food, right? All those deli meats with the nitrates and all those processed foods, right? All those foods that you can buy, that we may buy, that's processed. We don't need that, right? We don't need that. Cooking your own food is the best thing, right? Cooking your own food is the best thing. And so I know for Thanksgiving, you guys cooked up a storm, right? Many of you cooked up a storm and just had a nice time. And it's okay to, cook some, and that's the best food. Home cooked food is the best food. Okay. You know how you want it, you know how you season it. But also you also have to know, is your food considered healthy, right? Is your food that you're cooking, is the food that you're making healthy, right? And we know Southern folks, right? We know Southern, that's soul food, honey. That's soul food. You got to be careful with that soul food. Now, I love it myself, even though my family's from the Caribbean, right? So soul food is not something I grew up with, right? Because my family is from the Caribbean. So I grew up on curry, right? Curry, turmeric, roti, and things like that. Bus up shot, doubles, all of that stuff. Rice and peas, stewed chicken. All right. So you want to definitely be mindful of just eating healthier, right? So instead of in those collard greens, instead of, I don't know, that pork fat, I don't know what they put in it other than some smoked turkey neck bones, right? Instead of the pork fat and all of that, you have another option, is what I'm saying, right? Have other healthier options. Cut back on the salt, right? Cut back on the salt and all them candy yams. Them candy yams. Ooh-wee. Maybe you don't need all that sugar. Maybe you need, maybe you don't need, maybe you want to cut back a little bit. Maybe you want to try natural sugar, right? Let's just be more mindful and find healthier ways in preparing our meals. Healthier ways in preparing our meals. Right. And so instead of sugar, you can regular white sugar, refined sugar. Maybe you can use some natural agave, right? Some agave, something more natural, right? So that's all. We have to find ways to do better for our own health and well-being. All right. Because remember, prevention is the best medicine. Prevention. We don't want to be overweight, diabetic, high blood pressure, right? Having insulin resistance. We don't want that. And so, and this is how you get these things, by not eating healthy for what the body needs. And I know it's difficult, I know it's difficult, but we got to make change at some point, right? At one point, At some point, we have to make change and do what's right for our body as well as our families, right? And so number 12 is, how do I set realistic and achievable health and fitness goals? Again, having a support system, knowing what your goals are. How much weight are you looking to lose? Be realistic in your goals and how much weight you want to lose. Or maybe you don't want to lose weight. Maybe you just want to maintain, build up endurance, strength training. Maybe that's what you need. Being realistic and honest with yourself. And you can do that, again, by working with your coach, your fitness trainer, whoever it is, whoever your professional is that you work with, and having that support group to hold you accountable. Setting realistic goals. Remember, you don't want to lose the weight too fast because that's not sustainable, right? So if your goal is to lose 2 pounds a week, is that achievable? Is that sustainable? Yes, it is. 2 to 5 pounds a week? Yeah, you can. All right. So let's just be realistic on what our goal setting when it comes to fitness. All right. So number 13 is, can you provide guidance on portion control and mindful eating? Right. I touched on that a little bit, but yeah. Portion control. Guys, if you hear something that is my stomach, it is growling. Okay. So I apologize. All right. So now, portion control. Can you provide guidance on portion control and mindful eating? Yes. You should be eating foods. Now, you should have plenty of greens, right? You should have plenty of greens. That's why it's important to have your salad, right? Having your salads. Color your plate, right? Color your plate. Now, if you're going to have meat portions, you definitely want to look at your portion size for meats. Okay, so let me go back. Let me just go back a second. So when we look at portion control, some of the things that we could do, that I should have mentioned that first, choosing smaller dinnerware, right? Choosing smaller dinnerware. That's why if you ever go out to those or all-you-can-eat restaurants, they don't have big plates. You notice that the plates are a nice small size, right? And that's intentional. Okay. So choosing a smaller dinner plate, right? Now it says there was one study that says that using a large bowl plate of 77% more pasta than those using a medium-sized plate. So it says using a large plate can make food appear smaller, often leading to overeating, right? So this is why using a smaller plate would be recommended, right, to help you with your portion control. All right. Now, what about the portion guide? All right. So again, I was talking about meats and vegetables. All right. So your vegetables and your salad should be half of your plate, right? And as far as your proteins are concerned, it should be about a quarter, right? And that includes your meat, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy, tofu, beans, or whatever. Your complex carbs, such as your whole grains and your starchy vegetables, again, a quarter of your plate. All right. So as you can hear and see, that a quarter of your plate is smaller than half, right? Where your fruits and vegetables are going to be half of your plate. All right. And your high-fat foods, which is about half a tablespoon, right? And that's your cheese, your oils, your butter, etc. So you want to just make sure you can use your hand as a serving guide, right? You can use your hand as a serving guide. So just look at your hand size, just look at, do you want to go past your hand size? So a cupful of it, like your hand size. You don't want to overeat. So when it comes to your fruits and your vegetables and your salads, right? So you would say maybe about a fist-sized portion. All right. So again, remember, your fruits and vegetables should be half, your carbs and your protein about a quarter, right? And so this is what you need to remember. And let's see. Now, when you're going out, when you go out to the restaurants, a lot of them, they give you a lot of food. All right. So they give you a lot. And they even have on some of the menus, half or full. Go with half. Go with half. Right. Because you may not even be able to eat that much. It just depends on you and your and how you eat your diet. Right. So ask for half. All right. If you order the full plate, it's usually a lot of food. Yeah, usually it's a lot of food. And if you want to save it and have a doggy bag, okay, fine. But you definitely want to be mindful. Again, what's important is eating when satisfied, right? Eating when you're satisfied and not when you're full. Okay. Not when you are overly full. You don't want to be stuffed. Okay. You don't want to be stuffed. All right. So number 14, what supplements, if any, do you recommend for overall well-being? What are some supplements? You should always have your vitamin C. If you don't have fresh oranges available, vitamin C, vitamin D, okay, zinc, that's important. All right. So you want to make sure you have those essential vitamins, even B12, right? Having B12, right? Glutathione, right? Glutathione is good for help with detoxing and helps with the absorption for that as a detoxifier. It helps your liver. Your liver produces this, by the way, but in some cases, depending on your health condition, it may not produce it as much, but it's good for the cells. All right. Okay. So vitamin C, vitamin D is important. Vitamin D, right? And your zinc, magnesium, psyllium. And so these are important for you, right? These are important for you to have. Okay. So those are important supplements that I recommend. Of course, there's others, but these are the important ones that I would say that you need to have on a daily basis. Okay, so number 15, how can I manage and overcome cravings for unhealthy foods? That's a very good question. So how can I manage and overcome cravings for unhealthy foods? Okay, so first thing is, if I didn't mention already, I probably have, listen, clean out your pantry, right? Clean out your pantry and replace them with some healthy snacks, healthy foods, right? And I know that it can be challenging, right? I know that it can be challenging. And especially when for us females, when you're under the time of your cycle, you may crave sweets and all kind of unhealthy stuff, right? So just try to replace that with something more healthier, right? And one thing you can do is, as far as the potato chips, right? I love potato chips, right? But lately I haven't consumed any, but I do love potato chips. So what are some things you could do? Choose the healthier options of potato chips, right? Choose the healthier, whatever it is that you crave, choose the healthier version of that. So you're not depriving yourself, right? So you're not depriving yourself. And what about maybe sweets and candies, right? What about some healthier choices of cookies? Homemade oatmeal cookies, something with less sugar, something that's organic, right? Something that's going to be a healthier version of a snack. Remember, like I said, even with your support group, your coaches, your fitness coach, health coach, whatever, a doctor, professional, whoever it is, whatever your support group is, even if they're online, your accountability partner, they're not going to be around you 24/7. So you have to learn how to self-regulate and have self-discipline, right? That's important. But by choosing the healthier options or versions, that can help you. Or you can also just have a cheat day, right? And that's what the cheat day is for. You can have a cheat day. No one is crucifying you for having a cheat day. So for that one cheat day, you want to have some snacks of the health, whatever, or the cravings for those unhealthy foods. Have a cheat day. And I'm not saying eat the whole bag or hold the whole box of cookies, but have a cheat day where you can give yourself some grace and give yourself maybe 2 or 3 cookies. I'd say 2. I don't go past 2 if that's what you're going to do. But give yourself some grace, right? You don't have to be so hard on yourself. Give yourself some grace and where you're not totally depriving yourself, right? Now, some people can do it cold turkey and others can, and that's okay, right? So you don't deprive yourself. You give yourself some grace. You have a cheat day. When you're having snacks, choose the healthier version of snacks, right? And get rid of that. Get rid of the junk food in your pantry, right? Get rid of the junk food in your pantry. Remember, you have to learn how to self-regulate, self-discipline when no one else is around. And maybe writing that journal help you to visualize and look at it and physically see that, okay, this is what I had this week. Maybe I better not have it today. Maybe I better not have it this week, and I'll cheat next week. Just use your own judgment. Use your own judgment and trust yourself to do what's best for your body. Trust yourself, and not only that, love yourself enough to do what's best for your body, right? Love yourself enough to do what's best. All right. So number 16 is what role does hydration play in overall health, and how can I stay adequately hydrated? Okay, that's a good question. I'm always saying hydration, right? Drinking enough water, drinking plenty of water, right? And coconut water if you can. Get rid of the sugary carbonated drinks. Sodas, particularly soda, all the sweet fruit juices. You want to, now, I'm not saying you can't have any, right? What I'm saying, because sometimes you get tired of drinking water all day. I love water, and even sometimes I don't want to drink water constantly and nothing else besides water, right? So I have teas, I have orange juice, right? I have things like that. And sometimes I may have a drink. I forgot the brand of it, but what is it called? Simply something. I may have a drink of something else if I want a taste of something a little sweet, but it's not what I do all the time regularly, right? So I monitor what I drink and what I consume. And most of the time, mostly it's water. And so hydration plays an overall, is a significant part of your overall health and well-being, because it helps you to stay hydrated, getting fluid to the cells, right? Causing you to not have muscle cramps or spasms, right? Because when you lack hydration, you can get muscle spasms and cramps in your legs, right? You want to avoid that, okay? And it also helps with flushing out the toxins in the body. So this is why hydration is important, okay? And would I choose Gatorade over water, a bottle of water, spring water? Yes, okay? Water is the healthier option, spring water in particular, okay? All right. So number 17 is, how do I build a sustainable exercise routine that fits into my busy schedule? Well, you have to create a schedule that you know is going to work for you, right? Create a schedule and create that schedule, time it out, right? Maybe you could create something on your computer in an Excel file, or just have a little note sheet or written down what your regular routine is, right? What's your regular routine when you get up in the morning? So when can you fit in? Are you more of a morning person when it comes to exercise? Or are you more of an evening person, maybe when you come home from work? Know your routine, right? And once you can understand and know your routine, you create a time slot for when you want to do your fitness exercise. Create that time slot and stick to it. Okay, and stick to it. And to exercise 3 or more times a week for at least 15 to 30 minutes a day. And if you're going to do 15 minutes a day, maybe you may want to do that twice a day, right? And so you just have to really get to have a schedule, create that schedule. Now, some people have flexibility in their job, so maybe you don't have a concrete schedule at work for your job. Some people are doing, maybe some days they're in the office and some days they're not. They're at home working from home. So just adjust your schedule accordingly based on that. And that's what's going to make it sustainable, being committed and allowing flexibility for when things happen, because we know in life, things happen, right? Things happen, things change. You may have to stay at the office a little later. They may need you to come in a little earlier. They may need you to come in on your off day, whatever. Have some flexibility. Okay. Now, I hope that answers that question. Now, number 18, can you offer advice on creating a healthy work-life balance? Again, that kind of relates to what I mentioned previously, right? Having a schedule that suits your lifestyle, right? Having a work schedule that suits your lifestyle. And one way of creating a healthy work-life balance is making sure you make self-care a priority, right? Making sure that self-care is a priority for you in your life, right? Because it's not all about going to work and paying bills, right? Life is much more than that. It's much more than going to work and paying bills. So you want to create a schedule that's going to work for you, and having that work-life balance. Maybe on your lunch break, I talked about walking, and on your lunch break, maybe doing some breathing exercises on your lunch break, right? You fit in that time, maybe even if it's 5 minutes, right? Even if it's 5 minutes, and making sure you're staying connected, right? With your family, your loved ones, your immediate family, your family and friends, staying connected, because we need that. We need social connection as well. Okay. So we need to take priority in our health, right? Putting ourselves first. We need to take priority in our family life, right? So making sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can do well and be the best for others, right? And that goes on into your work life, right? Learning how to adjust to other people's personalities, right? Learning how to communicate effectively with those other people who may be a little hard to get along with, or maybe even in your family. Learning how to communicate effectively by listening, right? As well as being heard. And I mentioned about self-care and putting yourself first, right? You have to take care of yourself. That's number one. And finding time to enjoy the beautiful things in life that you enjoy, right? And that's where that balance, which I like to call harmony instead of balance, right? You want a harmonious lifestyle. And to have that harmonious lifestyle, you need to be intentional. You need to live with intention. You need to have intention. Intentional living is what I say, right? And setting your intentions on what it is that you want out of your life, for your life, right? Because your life has meaning, your life has purpose, right? So life shouldn't be just the humdrum everyday routine, right? Work, pay bills, take care of the kids, take care of the family, clean the house, cook, clean, whatever. Okay. And then do it all over again. No, there should be more meaning to life. There should be more meaning to your life. Okay. And whether that is doing the hobbies or things that you enjoy just for fun, having social gatherings, going out with friends, spending quality time with your spouse and your family, those things are vitally important. They are very important, okay, for the human existence. And that's what it is to have a holistic approach, right? And the holistic lifestyle, okay? it embodies all of that individual, all that we encounter on a daily basis, right? The spiritual aspects of our lives, right? Our spirituality, our faith, our connection to others, right? Our family, our work is important. We need our jobs, work, whether you work from home or own a business. We need that to sustain our livelihood, to live, right? As well as having, being able to do the things you enjoy, taking a vacation every year, right? Taking a vacation every year, or even doing a staycation, okay? Even if you may not have it in the budget to travel out of state, maybe go somewhere local, drive somewhere local. Maybe it's spending the weekend at a hotel, just you and your spouse, away from the kids. I don't know, whatever that is, whatever that it looks like for you. You have to create that for yourself. You have to create it for yourself, and you have to want it. More importantly, you have to want it, right? Because if you don't want it, it's not going to happen. You can't sit around just moping around about things you want, but not taking any action, right? So I hope that answers that question. Now, number 19 is, what are some strategies for improving digestive health? Well, that's important, right? How can we improve digestive health? Well, first, when we eat, we need to take our time eating slowly, right? Again, eating with intention, eating slowly, taking a moment to enjoy our food, right? And so many of us are on the go. I tell you, especially, I always bring this up, especially in healthcare professions. You see the nurses and everything, sometimes they're snacking out of their pocket, So, or taking the time to really sit down and eat something while they're charting, they're snacking on something, right? No real time for themselves, but that in between time, and sometimes it's not the best of healthy snacks, right? So they're just trying to satisfy their hunger at the moment, but it's not always the best option. So what are some things that we can do, strategies to improve digestive health? Well, take our time eating by eating slow, right? It helps to break down the food in our mouth, right? The saliva helps to break down food. So that's where the digestion process begins first, and then taking your time to eat, and then it takes time to travel and get to the stomach, and then there's the digestion, right? So, but what do we need? What's going to help that? Pre and probiotics, right? Taking probiotics. What are some probiotics? Live culture and yogurt, right? Greek yogurt. If you eat yogurt, right? That's good for you with the live bacteria. Fermented foods such as pickles, sauerkraut. Remember, I talked about not enjoying sauerkraut. I never liked it. I never really liked pickles either. But as I began to learn more on this health journey and learning more about the importance of probiotics, right? You need it for gut health. You need it for good gut health, right? And so it helps in the digestive system. It helps you with your gut flora. Sauerkraut, pickles, all of these types of fermented foods, okay? Having alkaline water or coconut water, which is alkaline, right? Drinking spring water, staying hydrated. All of these things are going to help with your digestive health, right? And greens, having more greens and fiber to help move the bowels, right? So helping with digestion and moving the food throughout the system of the intestines and all of that, and then working its way out to the bowel to move out the waste, right? That's important. So these are some simple things you can do. Having an apple a day, right? Is fiber, right? Eating apple, maybe you can put some apples in your oatmeal, okay? Actually, that sounds like a good idea. Maybe I'll have that. All right. So the next question, question number 20, how can I foster a positive mindset and maintain a healthy relationship with food? Oh, I love that question. How can I foster a positive mindset and maintain a healthy relationship with food? Mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. It makes a difference in the choices, the things that we do, the actions that we take, how we think, the world in which we create, right? Because you know that we create our own world with our thoughts, right? We create it with our thoughts. So mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. So looking at the positive aspects of life, being more optimistic rather than pessimistic, being grateful for the moment, learning to be present, right? Learning to be present, all right? And taking the challenges and adversity of life as not a setback. It may be a setback, but look at it in the lesson in which you can learn behind it, because with everything we experience, there's a lesson behind it. And so we have to be mindful of our thought, of everything that we think about, and know that with our thought, there's vibration, there's frequency, right? And this is all, and you know, I love science too. So, and this is all scientifically proven that our thought emits frequency. Okay, our thought creates frequency. And so whatever you think about, whatever you put out there and speak, it becomes reality, right? So having a more positive approach to life with positive aspects, right, can only be beneficial to you in the long run. And so now, how do we relate that now to the second part of that, to maintain a healthy relationship with food? Okay, so you have to ask yourself, does this serve me in the greatest way possible when you're making your food choices? Sometimes you do have to talk to yourself now and ask yourself these questions, right? Especially if you're someone who have a hard time with it, right? Because it's not easy, especially if you battling with the food demon, right? Battling with the food addiction, right? You become addicted to food and you can look at that on one of my other episodes, you know, battling the food demon. I talk about that, right? And the addictions and where it stems from, right? Some type of experience, and the food provides you some type of negative experience and something that you're not willing to face. And so, again, with that, when you're looking at that, the food provides you a source of comfort without judgment, right? So you can eat all the food you want and enjoy the pleasure of food because you seek that comfort, right? Emotional eating, which is related to emotional eating. And so when you're able to really identify that and come to the truth, come to a moment of truth with yourself, then you can maintain a healthy relationship with food. Okay. If you have a better understanding of why you may overeat or why you continuously make bad choices, right? When it comes to health in your food and food, there's things that's happening deeper below the surface level. And so you have to be ready to face it. You have to be ready to deal with it in order to make the change, right? And when you have a better understanding of why you have an unhealthy relationship with food, then you can have an understanding of why making better food choices and maintaining a good relationship with food and making healthier choice options is what better serves you best, right? And so as Dr. Amen says from Amen Clinics, he says, love food that loves you back, right? So when you look at a particular food, you could say, well, does this food love you back? Well, if it provides good benefits, health benefits for you, then that food loves you back, right? That food loves you back. So if you're making a choice of having foods full of MSG or something like that, I don't know, or foods with known ingredients that are proven, like dyes, right? Some of the dyes in the food that causes hormone disruptors, right? Certain things that cause hormonal imbalance, right? So once you start being mindful and making those choices, does this love me back? Does it love me back? And so if you can answer that honestly to yourself and say yes, then that will help you in the process of making those better food choices and having a healthier relationship with food. Again, learning how to self-regulate and self-discipline. Your support group is just that, your support. They're your support. You have to be willing to do the rest of the work and commit, okay? You have to do the work and commit. Now, I have a bonus question here, and this one, I didn't have time to really marinate on that one too much, but I have two that I have in the top of my head. May not have all of them. All right. So this final question this is a bonus question. What are your top 5 superfoods you recommend for overall health and well-being? Man. Okay. So I won't say them in any particular order, but I'll tell you 2 I can think of offhand is sea moss, because of the amazing benefits that it has. Sea moss, cacao, because of its amazing benefits that it does for the body as well. Okay, so the next one would be amaranth, right? So it is a gluten-free protein, rich grain that is full of benefits, all right? And so just to name just a few of its benefits is that, again, it is a high source of protein. It helps with reducing inflammation, supports bone health, helps with lowering the cholesterol, aids in your digestive system. It is gluten-free. It helps to fight diabetes, okay? And let me just go over some information on that about amaranth. Okay, so with just a cup of amaranth, okay, it can be eaten as a part of a diabetic diet that helps reduce high blood sugar levels, okay? And manganese is needed to help with the proper production of the digestive system, with the digestive enzymes. Remember, I talked about supplements and that you should also include manganese, all right? So you should also include, I mentioned magnesium, but manganese helps and is responsible for the process called glucogenesis, all right? And this involves a conversion of proteins, amino acids into sugar and balances the sugar within the bloodstream, all right? So amaranth is a protein that's very good for you. It helps in aiding in weight loss as well. And it also is great for, I already mentioned that it can help with lowering your cholesterol, but it also can help with women who are pregnant, all right? It could also help with pregnant women because of the folate deficiency, all right? It helps maintain the folate, right? Folate is included in amaranth, all right? So you want to make sure that you consume, if you're pregnant, you want to make sure you consume your folate. And that's why they give you those vitamins, those folic acid pills, those pregnancy vitamins that makes your hair and your skin and make everything just glow and grow. So that is why. All right. So now let me get back to my list. So I mentioned sea moss, I mentioned amaranth, but cacao powder from the cacao plant, many ingredients, many helpful benefits in cacao. All right. And so just to name a few, it can help you with anemia, also with losing weight. Okay. Also reduce the risk of coronary disease and stroke. It can help with treating diarrhea. It can help improve your mood, enhance your mood. It's also great, has anti-aging properties. Okay. So you can have, there's so many benefits. Listen, the Creator made so many foods for us to have that to help us stay healthy and to fight disease, right? There are so many benefits. This was a hard choice to pick the top 5. So I'm just going, I couldn't pin down an exact thing because there's so many, right? There's so many. Berries, all right? Also on cacao, you can have cacao nibs, right? You have people who eat cacao nibs. Helps you with aging and living longer. Cacao, all right? So greens would be the next one that I would consider a superfood, such as spinach, right? Spinach, Brussels sprouts, great for the production of glutathione. All the greens are good for you, period, right? Because they are so beneficial with providing the nutrients that we need for the body. And berries is another one. Berries, dark berries, full of antioxidants, help get rid of free radicals out the body, right? Goji berries. Now, goji berry is not a dark berry, but goji berry also has plenty of health benefits. So I have all my notes here. So goji berry has been used in traditional medicine to help with illnesses and infection and to enhance immunity, right? So you've heard of all these different elderberry, right? So berries in particular are good for you. Berries, okay? And it just gave me a thought of the final one that I would say. Now, I don't have a particular order, right? I just thought of the 5 most important ones. So sea moss came to mind, again, because of all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that it has in it. And it's so beneficial for you and good with suppressing your appetite, as well as providing a great source of iodine and all the other nutrients that I mentioned before: amaranth, cacao, greens, berries. But the last one would be mushrooms. Okay? So mushrooms can help with decreasing the risk of cancer. You hear people talk about different types of mushrooms, reishi, portobello mushrooms are good for you. Now, Dr. Sebi, one of the reasons, Dr. Sebi, he did not recommend shiitake mushrooms. I'm not sure on his reasonings for shiitake mushrooms, but I've tried shiitake mushrooms and I've actually seen the benefits on shiitake mushrooms. They are very good for you. But mushrooms in general is great for brain health, and it can actually stimulate a healthier gut, all right, as well as help with your immune system. So mushrooms would definitely be on that list. Again, I would say the top 5, not in any particular order, would be the sea moss, amaranth, cacao, greens, all types of greens, especially spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, greens in particular, and berries, dark berries, in addition to goji berries. Okay, now I'm not sure, did I talk about goji berries and its benefits? Let me make sure I go over that one. All right, so now let me get back to the goji berries. Oh, I did mention that it moves toward illness and effect. I just had to remember. Okay, so let's see, I covered that one. Okay, so it looks like I covered everything. So those will be the top 5. And that's it. That is all. All right. So thank you so much for listening in on this podcast today. And I hope that you stay well and add some of these foods, if not all of them, to your diet for better health. Until next time. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.